Alright, short preview for our first basic quiz coming up with our trig units. Again, little hint here up at the top. We're trying to figure out what you're going to be using. Our first one, I take a look. See my angles up here with my 52, and I just take a look at the sides that I have. I have the opposite, and I have the hypotenuse. Opposite and hypotenuse go with the sine of 52 degrees. And again, be careful, because it does matter the way you set your fraction up. Because if you look and you go, okay, well, what am I going to do now? I need to get x alone. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to multiply each side by 40. X is going to be 40 times the sine of 52. And a couple of warnings. Again, make sure if you're using a calculator that is not your own, that you are not in radian, but degree mode. And if that's the case, then we can just type in what we see. And typically for sides, we're going to be going to good morning to the nearest tenth. Same thing on our next one for number 2. Again, I'm looking and I have the adjacent and I have the hypotenuse, which will give me the cosine of 37. Now again, be cautious, adjacent over hypotenuse. This will not work out the same way number 1 did. Because this time when I go to multiply both sides, it's not just going to be the 85, it's going to be the x. And we spoke a little bit about this when we were doing these. So instead of multiplying them together, when I go to calculate this one, I'm actually going to be doing 85 divided by the cosine of 37, and not a multiply type problem. 106.4 meters. So as long as you're cautious with your signs and watching what sides you have, opposite, adjacent, which is tangent, equals the opposite over adjacent. This time again, my numeric value ends up in the denominator, so I am just going to be multiplying both sides. So 19 times the tangent of 27 will get me to my solution. Last one we've got here, swing back over. Notice I'm looking for an angle opposite hypotenuse, which is sine, and remember when you're doing sine, that's why I like to put that there, you're working with an inverse. And then just type in your fraction. And again, degrees, we're just going to do everything to the nearest tenth unless you're told to do differently. Even though I wouldn't jump up and down if you even went to 55 on that, because we've done that on a lot of the homework assignments. We've gone to the nearest degree on the angle. But accuracy is the key. What would be a quiz on trig without a couple of story problems? I guess at least one here. So a building casts a shadow of 46 meters when the angle of elevation of the sun is 25. Again, when we're doing an angle of elevation, my little building here, means looking upward towards the top of the building. Casts a shadow. Your shadow is always where you're going to see it. You're going to see it on the ground. Okay, so it's not going to be up over here. How tall is the building? And I've got all the information that I need. I have my reference angle to work with. I have opposite and adjacent, which is the tangent. Opposite over adjacent, and again with my constant term in the denominator, that gives me the opportunity to just multiply those together. And it looks like the building's about 21.5 meters tall. So keep rolling along here. Again, you get the blank triangle so you can make A, B, and C whatever you'd like. And we're basically just going to try and figure out Side always opposite from its angle. Find the lengths of side A. So I look and I say, okay, well, things I can figure out. I can figure out what B is by subtracting these two from 180. It should be 73 degrees. So once I get that taken care of, now I gotta listen to them talk to this even while I'm trying to make a video. Don't they know what I'm doing? Why are they doing this to me? But okay, I have my corresponding side and angle. And then again, if I'm looking for the length of side A, I'll use its angle measure and we'll find the value. So again, when I'm going to type this in my calculator, find the diagonal that doesn't have your A in it. Multiply those together. And we're going to divide by what is in the diagonal with my A, which is the sine of 73. No second this time, because I'm not looking for an angle, I'm looking for a side. And it looks like A is about 15.1. I don't see a measurement, so we just don't do it this time. For our next one, again, I have choices on where to put everything, and it doesn't make a huge amount of difference. Trying to figure out what this angle is, a nice corresponding side and angle. Corresponding side and mystery angle. We're looking for an angle. Same deal going as at number 6, except I need the second. Find the diagonal that doesn't have the B. Divide by whatever's in with my sine B. And we talked about how you can try to do this all at once or you can do it in pieces. Doesn't matter to me. And again, you're like, what do you mean? I can either do my inverse right away, and get my solution, or I could go ahead and just type in what I see in the fraction and then take the inverse of that solution. I get the same thing. So either way, we're ready and raring to go. And our last two that we got working here, get everything labeled with A, with B, with C. This time I notice with the law of cosines, oh yeah, two sides and a non-corresponding angle. So again, to find the length of side C, if C squared equals the sum of the squares of my other two sides minus 2 times their product times the cosine of my given angle. And again, the nice thing about this one, once I get the calculator out of the way, I can basically just type this whole thing in but then just remember, I'm not going to clear this out right now. I just want to give myself, in case I hit a button on accident, that I don't completely lose everything. So C is going to be about 10.7. We're good to go there. Then our last one, I'll shrink that down. Given nothing but sides. Again, when this happens, we're going with the largest. And again, when I'm looking for angle C, I can either use the fraction or I can use it this way. And I don't care which one that you use. I'm just going to keep using the same formula because I like using the same formula all the time. So if I'm going to keep using this formula, I'd have my C squared. I'd have the sum of my other two squares minus 2 times their product times the cosine of that angle. And again, on this, I want to take care of things in pieces. So when I'm cranking this out, again, what are these people doing? Don't they know I'm making a video right now? Need to be able to mute them. So right now I notice this would be 256. This would be 208. And 2 times 8 times 12. And I just did it this way just to make a reminder. This cosine of c, treat it like it's x. These aren't like terms. I cannot combine this. Okay? I'm going to minus the 208 to the other side. And then I'm going to divide by the negative 192. And I am going to want to have that be, since I'm looking for an angle with a second, make sure I got everything to, oh, what'd I do? They're like, Harty, you didn't put in the negative. See, I'm glad I looked at that twice, because I'm like, oh, okay, that's, no, not right. That's what that is. Let's do this again and be a little more careful. See, it just goes to prove a point. I'm the expert in the area, and I still do silly things sometimes. Okay, that's better. 104.5. Just to wrap up, the quiz tomorrow will be 15 questions instead of 10. There will be more application problems, but you're getting plenty of practice on those in the packet that you're working on currently. So do those up well, and you'll do fine on the quiz.